Hello and welcome back. All right, so I took the B pillar out. It was bolted together. And the next thing to do is to clean up all the chassis and paint it. So what I did is I did the outriggers here and all these pieces. And all around here and up to here and underneath I did. I did the cross in the middle here, the member. And then here too is the brake support. And I did a little bit here, but I'm going to stop. I stopped right here because I can't really get my grinder in there. So whenever I plan on replacing the transmission mounts. So this bracket will be taken off in this bracket, and then I can get in there and clean all this area and paint it. So my plan is to put core seal on all these pieces and parts out here. And on the other side of this, about halfway through here or whatever, maybe a little bit more over. So anyway, so then this side will be done. And all this scraping and cleaning, this is what, well, besides the leaves, but this is just the dirt that came off the chassis and seals and everything that's not, it's just dirt. So back to the chassis. This has no bottom on it, so that was perfectly fine. This one's already been repaired, this outrigger. This outrigger is the only one I see where I'm going to need to do some fixing. I'll show you down underneath here. Alright, so right here, it's got some holes going on right here. So, and rust falling out of there. So I'm going to cut this out and weld in a new plate right here underneath here. But the rest of the frame, the whole way down, it's fine, all the way down to this outrigger. So there's no holes, no nothing, but there is a bunch of, the hole right here, I keep getting a bunch of nuts and everything coming out of that. So I'm gonna try to get some air up inside there. Maybe I can blow all that out, because I really don't want to cut the frame just to clean it out. But I cleaned out both ends of the frame rails pretty much on as far as I could on the ends, but I'd hate to cut a frame that's good, but I don't plan on doing that. So, and the member here, this is another thing. Whenever I get up here, I can get the transmission up. I'm going to clean that up too. So I'm just kind of randomly going to paint, core seal these different parts here. So I'm going to core seal all this up, and then I'm going to work on cutting this out next here before I do anything else. Alrighty. Alright, so I cleaned up and core sealed all the chassis all around here, going back and up inside. Did this arm here too, all inside here, and stopped right here like I said there for the transmission, and did in there all inside here and all underneath as well. So the patch that I do have to fix down underneath here, there it is there. This is where we had the hole right here and rust was coming out. So I did the usual. I cut out the square of the rust, and a big thing of dirt came flying out with it and rust chips. So I did the usual thing. Made a cardboard cutout of the patch that I want to make. So then I just cut it out of some metal. I put the hole there, just the same as the drain. There was a drain hole right here. So I cut the piece out, and I'm going to weld that in right there. So that's what I'm going to do next. Alrighty. Alrighty, here's the new piece. It's all welded in, and I ground it down smooth as possible around it. So that's all fixed. So now I'm going to core seal this here, and I'm going to start putting 2 coats of black Rust-Oleum on the frame, all around the frame that's already covered in core seal. So, alrighty, so I just wanted to show you that. Alright, so I got the chassis all painted with 2 coats of Rust-Oleum. And up over to the side there into the center. So now I'm doing the test fit with the B pillar and all the seal again. And in order to get these holes to line up, I have to raise this up as much as I can to get these to line up. And when I do, it actually raises the roof up. Oh, one other thing, I put the windshield back on. I put seals. I bought these seals that were about the same thickness as the original, and they're not thick enough, so I had to make them, have to double them up with some glue. So, all right, so the windshield's on, and I bought these washers, which are basically spacers. I'm using for spacers, 1/2-inch washers for spacers on both sides. Since I put this together and this didn't have enough angle on it, this needed to be in more to reach over that way. This is correct. From this side to that side is the right measurement to what I measured before, but this just isn't angled in enough. So the spacers are there, and no one would probably even notice them unless I point them out. So windshield's back on. So when I put the windshield on, the top piece bolted up perfectly. It lined right up with it, nice and flat. So then I fit in the B pillar, and with the front part there laying flat on the windshield, these no longer line up now, these holes down here. So I actually have to raise up this end, raise it up to meet these holes, but then it lifts the front of the roof. So at the factory, I have a feeling they bolt all this together, put the bulkhead in, put this in, put all these pieces in, and then put the roof on last. And they didn't, and they must have pushed up too much or put this too high. And they must have drilled these. I think they must mark and drill this piece as well whenever they're in the factory, maybe. I don't know. But I'm just guessing on all this, so I don't even know. So first time I took off the windshield, this actually raised up. So it makes sense that these are both pushing up more onto the roof than what they should be, because this actually popped up before. So my measurements I found online on the YRM. On the YRM website, they said it's 882 millimeter, which equals 34.70 inches from here to here. So what I'm measuring on mine is actually 34.75. So from there, 3/4 of an inch, 34 3/4 from that edge to this edge. I think that's pretty close. So I'm pretty happy with where the door pillar is. And then I took my horizontal measurements that I did before I cut this off, from this edge here to that edge to where the hinge is, basically right here to there. Then I did from right here to over there. So that's coming out right. So I got the same measurements there. It might be off by a 1/16, I think. Somehow it's off. I'm going from there to there. So that's not bad. I'm happy with that. And also the horrible look of all this is that it has Core Seal, the primer on it. So it's going to be painted body color, the same color as that when I get done welding it. So the C-pillar, I'm not really too concerned about the C-pillar right now. So I'm going to fit that up after that's welded on. So that'll be the next step. So I'm going to mark around here, clean up, and then put it back on and put some welds on it. And then I'm probably going to take it off again to do a full welds on the whole thing, because I can't really get in there. So alrighty, I'll be back. Okay, so I know I said just a second ago I'm not going to worry about this side. And the more I think about the whole assembly, this is actually all one piece actually. B pillar, the sill, and the C pillar actually all become welded together. So I changed my mind and I'm putting this all together and this all together all in one piece or whatever. I'm going to weld as much as I can around here. Get some welds. There's some plug welds I could put on the back. And this one I can weld in here and on the other side of it, I can weld back in there, and on this side. So whenever I do get this done, weld these all welded together, then I do the other B pillar. I'm going to take this piece off, take it off and paint it, because then this side will be done and that side will be done, and they won't be moving anywhere. So then I'll be able to take this off, and I'll be able to get the welds down here and probably clean up some welds back in there as well. So I'm not going to fully weld this, but I'll weld it so it doesn't move. And back here I'll weld it up too as much as I can. Okay, so I'll talk more about the C pillar, but it's actually a two-piece part right now. See this gray part in the front comes off. You can see it's clamped in. And this is the other part, the inside. So I'm going to put some welds here, weld up here, and put a couple welds here, take off the clamps and take this off. I'll show you a little closer here in a little bit. But then I'll take this cover off, and then I'll be able to weld the inside all together inside here. Another interesting thing, C-pillar, which really isn't, that's actually the C-pillar. This is actually one piece right here that comes down. It gets welded to a panel that comes down, and then this is the whole piece right here. So this is actually all supposed to be one piece coming down behind here and coming down. You can see it right there. So once I add this piece, it becomes all one piece again. So my thoughts here, while I'm doing this, once I weld that up, I can't move anything or do anything back here, so I'm going to do it all at once. So my setup back here is I painted it the body color underneath it. You can see the almond color. And then I put a rubber seal behind here, rubber seal underneath this piece, because this is steel and this is aluminum. So I don't want that dissimilar metal to eat away from each other. So I put a piece of rubber in between there and a rubber here. And then there's actually a rubber seal up inside here too. So I use some foam seal to put up inside here so it pinches down onto it. So you can see how this is all put together with some clamps. Got that all lined up. This is down here lined up. Then I got a 2x4 down here on a jack pushing this up to push the roof up a little bit. So then this is now lined up, and that's bolted down tight. This is lined up with that jack pushing it straight up. Back here, this bolt here is all bolted in. The bracket that's back here is all bolted in, and this is in place here. So my next step is I'm going to weld. Start welding all the pieces and parts, and I'll be back to show you this piece without this. Alrighty. Okay, so I threw some welds around here on the other side, down the other side. So here it is, this the C-pillar. Here's the piece that was, oh wait, which way? I was sitting on there like this, and I held it in there as a spacer, and I took it off. So then you can see inside. So now this is inside the pillar here. I welded this. I actually welded it from the inside, and then the inside up inside because it's tight squeeze to get in here. And I did a few welds back here, and I had a big gap in there, and I mentioned in another video about the good old piece of copper smashed down. I put that in behind there, and I welded in, and it never stuck to it or welded, and it didn't blow my metal wall out whenever I was welding. So always a good trick to use. Since when I trimmed this off, I didn't make it perfect at all. I don't know, I guess I didn't have it lined up perfect, and then I started cutting the new panel before that, and so just used the copper as a spacer. So it's in there. Put some welds here, put some welds onto the inside and over on the outside. So now you shake it, it shakes the whole truck now. And same with this, it's not going anywhere for now until I can take this panel off and I could do a full weld around there. But we're solid where they're at now, where it's at now. One other thing, I'm gonna put this on next, and then I'll come back. All right, so I got the cover piece in. I pushed it down in here and got it straight in there and got it straight coming down. with the other panel here and then this panel. Also, I threw some core seal up inside here on the welds on the inside. But anyway, so you'll see here that I plug welded it down here or whatever. But you see these red marks? Originally, if I show you the panel here, this panel here is originally, you could see that it has pop rivets. So, and of course it's pop riveted up here. So, you take this, slide it up in to here, and slide it onto there. You can see, it lines up with those holes. And this originally was pop rivets that held all three of these pieces together here. So I didn't really like that. So what I ended up doing is I marked where I was going to put pop rivets, and I plug welded in between, so then this becomes all one panel. I welded down here as well, so now this is all boxed in. Also I welded along here, so now this is all completely boxed in and strong. Then this panel here, I'm still going to put pop rivets in original, just the same as the original, so it looks the same. And but I wanted this to still be stronger than just having pop rivets holding it. So that's why I plug welded those. But I'm going to grind them all smooth, so this panel then lays flat on there and no one will even notice that they're even spot welded there. So it'll look all like the way it's supposed to, and then pop rivets go in here too. They go along here, 1, 2, 3, 4. So then it'll pop rivet onto there, pop rivet here, and the panel will be on. All right. So this panel I'm going to put on later on. I'm not going to put it on now. I'll put it on later once I get everything painted inside here and everything done up, and then once I have this all painted here, then I'll put on the cover, this panel back on. But all right, so sorry, a lot of babbling on this one, and I couldn't make decisions on what I wanted to do, and I put so much thought into how I wanted to do it that it took me forever to make a decision. So sorry about babbling in the video, but I think we're good. Got this all solid in. So C pillar's done, B pillar's done. I'm pretty much done with this side. Besides cleaning up the welds, I'm going to clean up all these here or whatever, and then throw some core seal on there and everything. So this side's pretty much done, that I'm happy with. So I'm going to start on the other side next, but I'm not going to make as much video about that or whatever. Maybe just a quick update on how it's going. But I'm going to do the same thing with the B pillar. I'm going to take it off, measure, do it the same way. I'm going to do everything, but now I have a better idea on how to do this, the C pillar. So, okay, thank you very much. Thank you for liking, subscribing, sharing. You guys, you are the greatest. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful night.